remember days like this when my father took me to the forest and we ate wild blueberries. More than 20 years ago, I was just a boy of 4 or 5. The leaves were so dark and green then. The grass smelled sweet with the spring wind. Almost 20 years of pitiless combat. No rest, no sleep like other men. And yet the spring wind blows, Superdai. Have you ever felt such a wind?
They blow where I live, too. In the north of every man's heart.
It's never too late, Superdai.
No. It would only lead me back here another day. In even worse company.
For us, there is no spring. Just the wind that smells fresh before the storm.
Hey folks, hope you guys are having a great evening. Let's go ahead and hop into it and play some games, talk about whatever you guys are wanting to talk about today. I don't know, I haven't kept up a lot on all the gaming stuff. I know Atari came out with their weird open concept console. I was wondering if like anybody had bought it and had any idea of what they were going to do with it, because I looked at it and it's like, I'm like, this looks like a kind of a cool little mini PC, but I don't really know, I don't have any idea what I would do with it. And it's kind of expensive. It's like $300 or $400 or something. Like I see it on GameStop here. It's like $400. I'm like, $400 is a digital PS5. Oh, of course, you could probably get the Atari VCS, so that might actually help, you know. But anyway, so I was wondering if anybody had any kind of leads on that. Like, what do you do with it? It's like maybe strip it off and put Linux on it and like run. I don't know what you do with it. It's like run emulator. You can run emulators on a Chromecast. That's where we're at right now. Is that like, you know, if you like running emulators, you can get a Chromecast for, gosh, I don't know, not a lot of money. I think, hold on, I'm getting where's my USB cable for this thing? Yeah, not a lot of money. You know, you can get a Chromecast. I think Google puts them on sale every so often. And there's an Amazon one, the Amazon Fire HD TV or something. You know, you can get it for like $20. So for $20, you can. It's basically a little Android system that just plugs into your TV. You can just run RetroArch on that and run whatever emulators you want. So I don't know what people are doing with the Atari VCS. And everyone was like, there was like some hype about it for a couple weeks. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what you do with this. It's like, no, it's like you could run. It's an open platform where like you can run games and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah. Like what games? I haven't seen the new Resident Evil 8 game yet. Not yet. I don't really like keep up on it. That's kind of what I'm saying. So Resident Evil 8 sounds cool. I usually, it's like I play the Resident Evil games, but I tend to never think that much of them until, you know, I think those first two are the ones that I really think about. And number 4, I probably think my favorites are like 2 and 4. 2 and 4 are both really good. I really enjoyed both of those. So, I don't know. 2 had this great atmosphere on the PS1 that's really, really hard to like quantify. But at the time, like playing on a little CRT alone in the dark, you had this great experience with Resident Evil 2. I like it. I think I like it better than Resident Evil 1 for that reason. For some reason, my Vita is not being detected today. Is the USB actually plugged in? Maybe I have to turn it on. Let's find out. Yeah, that's it. You can hear the music. Oh. There it is. Turn down just a little bit. Here we go. Ba-dum, 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 ba-da-bum. Ba-ba-bum, bum, bum. Okay, so we're in the cave. So it's things that I didn't do on stream. I got onto the airship and I blew it up, but not before I had to save the princess. So I got to the end. I'm like, all right, let's blow it up. And it's like, we shouldn't blow this up before we save the princess. It's like, oh, I had to go redo the whole thing, you know? It's like, forget to do things in correct orders. Yeah, this music is great. Yeah, vampires, werewolves, trolls, and obese merchants. I don't know about obese merchants, but I like maybe not so much undead. Look at these gigas. Like, these sprites are awesome in this version of the game. Everything's like redrawn from the ground up to look good. Vampire mom with big milkers. I've been seeing a bunch of stuff online that's like that, you know, like people cosplaying as that. I don't know what to say about that to you guys. Yeah, it's a great little cutscene. If you want, I have a game save loaded up right before you blow up the airship. If you want to see the little cutscene, it looks really cool for like this 16-bit aesthetic. I call this a 16-bit aesthetic. Like, there's a lot of colors, but it's still definitely in the pixel territory. You know, pixel art has this very defined set of pixels. Like, when you look at the grass, and each piece of grass is like a little individual color that somebody selected and clicked in to make the image, rather than sets of textures that get, you know, rendered on your screen a certain way. You'll see a very obese merchant. Yeah, the VCS is way, way more expensive than like the NES Minis and stuff. The NES Minis were like, I don't know, like little, basically like Mithril Shield. I already have a bunch of those. Not like, I don't think they're using Raspberry Pis, but it's the same idea. I mean, the Atari VCS looks like, you take it apart and it has like RAM slots. It looks like a PC. It has a full board. It's not like a little Raspberry Pi built around, you know, a garbage CPU. It has like an actual AMD Ryzen CPU in it. It looks like a little mini PC, but I'm like, I don't know what you do with it. It's like, is it a good piece of hardware to buy if you're into like hacking consoles? Are you gonna put Linux on it? Are you gonna put Windows on it somehow? I bet you could put Windows on it if you had like a hard disk that you could format properly. I bet you could run Windows on it. All the hardware is, all the hardware is probably not that unique. All right. Equipment. Let's see, Giant's Helm. And she has a gold hairpin, so that's fine. And we're starting to run low on magic, you know? A little bit of a worry. You know, we're down to 25 MP. Everybody a little bit of health here. Now this was a hole. I fell down this little weak part in the bridge here, and it dropped me all the way down to the bottom of the dungeon. I had to climb all the way back up to the top and like redo everything again. That was a pain in the butt. 2 years before his diabetes gets him. Oh yeah, I was talking about the new Atari system. I really don't know like why you get it. Like, I don't know what the point of getting it is. I don't know what the draw is. I haven't seen any special software for it. I don't know anyone who bought it either. So I'm like, it's like there was a bunch of internet hype for it for like 2 weeks, and then I just hadn't heard anything else about it. I think I watched a video where like they like tore it down and looked at the board, and it's like a little mini PC, and you could upgrade the RAM. You could, you know, put better RAM in it or more RAM. I'm like, that's cool, I guess. Like, what do I do? What do I do with this thing? And are the controllers good? That's the other thing, because I think it comes like, I'm looking at one on GameStop. Of course, GameStop. You know, the controller is a $60 controller, and it looks good. Like, the picture makes it look like a good, decent controller that you could use for stuff. But there's no D-pad. So, like, the D-pad is just like a circle. Like, you know, I don't know what I do with that. The base system, if you just bought the base system, it's $300. Yeah, it's 3 stars. I wonder what people said about it. Is this a pre-order, or is it out? 8 gigabytes of RAM is not that much. 8 gigabytes of RAM is what my PC had in 2008. You know. It's 7:45 a.m. in England right now. Well, good morning. Last night someone was like, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. I'm like, where are you? Konnichiwa. Konbanwa. Are you in Japan? Cool. It's like, I'm used to thinking about my own time, like US time. It's like it's the middle of the night on the East Coast. So like if you're in New York, you have to be like working the graveyard shift to be watching this stream. And then everyone in Europe, it's like, yeah, this is just like a Saturday morning stream. Woo! It's like, I'm getting ready for bed here. Gamers Nexus has a video on it, but I think it's just a teardown, not actually going over it as a product. Giants gloves. Let's check that out, huh? Giants gloves. Put on the mithril gloves. Okay. B4. Alright. Acid vial. Ooh, that sounds cool. I found a vial of acid, guys. What should we do with it? Let's drop that shit. I remember when 1 gig for the Xbox was awesome. Yeah, I ran World of Warcraft on a Macintosh with 1 gig of RAM. It was like a gig. You know? 8:45 here in Casablanca. 8:46 in Sweden. I don't know how to say hi in Swedish. Let's do it in German. Guten Morgen. Throw acid on the revenants. Like, ouch. See, I hate this game does this. Empty rooms with monsters in them. You walk into the room to see if there's treasure, and then the monsters jump on you. It's like a punishment for exploring. I remember when like 1 gigahertz was like a fast processor as well. You know, I remember when 100 megahertz was fast. You know, you had a 100 megahertz power PC. You know, your 601 power PC running at 100 megahertz. It's like, this is a really fast computer, guys. It's 100 megahertz. Well, there's a monster in there. No loot. I saw that rad monster. I'm like, let's. Thanks, David. All's well. Hope you're doing good tonight. Yeah, I hope you're doing good too. So yeah, I'm just curious about this Atari thing. Yeah, Atari making hardware again is interesting. Like, I think we've all kind of wanted that. You know, we've all wanted like Atari to make hardware again. Oh my gosh. It's ogres. Blizzard. It's just, hey. Or hala. Hello. Hello. Hello might be just a Germanic word anyway. Like, I can't... English is one of these languages where half the words are from some other language. It's like you meet someone with another language. It's like, how do you say this in your language? And they're like, it's the same word. Oh, why is that? Did you guys steal it from English? It's like, no, you stole it from us. It's like, this is an Old Norse word. That means this. So, of course, we still have it in Swedish. Alright. I might use my potions up here. Alright. We're out of potions. I'm not sure if there's anything we need here. Oh, the flame bow is good. I got another flame bow, but I haven't done anything with it. Alright. Let's save the game, in case we lose. Alright. Proceed with save, yes. Technically no diphthong on the Y. Shena. I don't know what I don't know what a diphthong is now. Shena. Chiana. I moved to Morocco thinking I could travel easily to Europe, and then COVID hit. Oh yeah, dude, did you see the Chinese thing where they're like, we're gonna do an anal swab for COVID? I'm gonna have to look it up. I was looking at it, and they're doing it on a Caucasian dummy. They're like putting this giant Q-tip into his butthole on a Caucasian mannequin, and it's like, this is how they're gonna test you for COVID. It's like, yeah, I helped tell my grandkids about how you used to be able to fly internationally without having things stuck up your butt. Chimera, danger! All right, let's see what this guy does. Let's just hit him with some attacks and see if these are effective. All right, well, that was not hard. All right, let's get ready for this boss. All right. The life spring is awash with soft light. Oh, you know what? I bet you we had to take... You get like a little sigil in like the first part of the level. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I bet you I have to go back and deliver that to the castle and then come back here and do this whole thing again. Nothing happens. I got the pendant. Dang it. Yeah. Well. Acid file. Shoot. Yeah, I think I have to take back the sigil first, and then go back and do this whole thing again. Luckily, I know the directions I'm going. Oh, this is great. Can we run away from the adamantoids? Yes, we can. So we have to use our magic to kill those guys. All right. Well, the Chimera wasn't difficult, so it's not gonna be that hard to get back here, I think. Here, let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll find it on Twitter, because I made some sort of comment about it. Alright, here it is. Hope you guys are ready for this. Maybe find a way to do it like this here. This won't make a lot of sense until you have to go escape. There we go. And... oh, the tweet's gone. The tweet is unavailable. They got banned off Twitter or something before they could show it. Shoot. Shoot. No, here it is. Here it is. Haha. I found it. Okay, you guys gotta watch this. All right. Hold on. Let me, I'll mute that for a minute. Here we go. China demonstrates how to perform COVID-19 anal swabs. On, here we go. Let's turn on the volume. Oh, I'm supposed to be moving to China next year. I don't even know if this is real, but I'm like, there's so little difference between parody and real life. Look at him swap the butt. This is totally going to get my channel banned, but it's so funny. Oh my gosh. Woo. Anyway. Do you think it's some sort of humiliation ritual? I don't know. What do you think? I think probably yes. I think, yeah, you might be right. Some sort of humiliation ritual. We don't need to hear him talking. I just thought it was funny. Check this here. All right, let's move on here. At least we got all the loot out of here, so getting back to the like bottom level shouldn't be that difficult. We've just moved into parody satire. Like, there's no difference between parody and reality. I make this point. It's like, how could you think that was real? It's like, because similar things elsewhere are real. You know, we used to joke, it's like, oh, I'm wearing 12 masks. And then they're like, you know, you should really wear 3 masks. It's better than 2. It's like, where did we jump from 1 to 3? Infinite masks. Good luck getting me sick. I'm behind 17 skeletons. I mean, masks. Well, people wore masks relentlessly during the Spanish flu, actually. So this is not unprecedented. So nothing that you're seeing is actually really unprecedented, believe it or not. So when people are like, this is unprecedented, it's like there's always something you'll find in history that's like, that's that. And so, yeah, you could do a little bit of reading on the Spanish flu, but people were wearing masks relentlessly because they were so afraid of getting it. But the Spanish flu was actually way deadlier than coronavirus, both for those high-risk individuals as well as just for normal people. Like, for normal people, coronavirus is, because I had it, it's unpleasant. It's very, very, very unpleasant. It's probably like one of the most annoying flus I've ever had. Not the sickness itself, but the secondary infection that I got from it, which is basically SARS. So getting SARS is not fun, but Spanish flu, if I remember correctly, was a lot more deadly for normal people. I mean, normal people could die of it. Quite, not easily, but it was still pretty low. Like, normal people would die of the Spanish flu like 2% of the time. But when you have everyone get infected, all of a sudden you have more people dying of the Spanish flu than died in World War I. You know, it's pretty crazy. Oh, you meant the anal swabbing. That's unprecedented. Yeah, that's basically, I had a really high fever for a couple days that was just really, like, no other symptoms. The fever went away, and then I got SARS. But I had no fever or anything after I got SARS. But they still, like, at the hospital, they were like, put me in a bubble. They're like, what? You know, people were wearing all their N95 masks. Which is funny because, like, I wore an N95 mask, like, relentlessly for months doing all the crap I had to do. Like, we were buying groceries for old people because they couldn't leave the house. I'm pretty sure I got it from my kid, and he got it, like, from his cousins or from the playground. Because he had cousins that got sick at the same time. He was sick for like a day. My daughter was sick for a day and a half. She was a little sicker. I was sick for 3 days. 3 or 4 days with the fever. And then like a week with the SARS symptoms before that cleared up. But there was a lot of more lasting stuff. So this is the other thing too. It's like you really don't want to get this if you can avoid it. Because there's a lot of lasting effects that are unpleasant. So one of them is like I couldn't smell anything for like a month. Half my hair fell out and my ability to do cardiovascular exercise was significantly diminished to where, you know, it used to be I could easily go hit the pavement and run a 5K and it didn't really faze me with like normal pacing. I couldn't do it afterwards. It was too taxing. I had to like get on my exercise bike and like work up from. It's like I hadn't never exercised before, or you know, it was like I was just completely out of shape. Like I'd taken years off from any kind of physical exercise or training. It was really bad. It took me a long time to get back to normal. As a result of that, and then like in the gym, you notice it when you're lifting heavy. Your cardio capacity will limit your ability to lift heavy in ways that you don't realize if you're not an experienced lifter, especially if you're doing like say deadlifts or squats, things where you're moving your whole body through the air, and exert. You know, when you're if you're deadlifting a lot of weight, that's a lot of energy being used to lift that weight, to move that weight through space, and so when you're using the energy, you need oxygen. Oxygen is supplying. You know, you're mixing oxygen and burning it with sugar to get most of your energy. And you're going to use that to replenish your ATP reserves. So that's why you need rest between sets and things like that. So it's one of those things where like you do one set and you have to rest for like way longer before your heart rate slows back down and you're like, okay, I feel like I can lift again. It was awful. Yeah, Spanish flu was probably infected a third of the global population. And I've heard this before too. And you know, it's deadly because of the law of large numbers, right? It's not, you see like 2% and you're like, this doesn't sound very deadly, but when lots and lots of people get it, it adds up to a really significant amount. The same thing with coronavirus. So, you know, I made this point last year. I'm like, well, if the same number of people get coronavirus as get the flu, within the next year, you'll have 500,000 people dead in the United States alone. That's like the entire city of Fresno, California, which is a big city, being wiped off the map, you know? For people who live in smaller states, if you lived in the state of Wyoming, that's basically the entire state of Wyoming, everybody dying. Okay? But you don't concentrate in that when it's spread out kind of thin. You don't think that there's a lot of people that have suffered or died. And then, like I said, coronavirus, just because you get it and you get better doesn't mean you're 100% better. I also get this thing called COVID toe. This sounds really weird. This is totally gross. But it's called, they're called chilblains, and it's associated with getting coronavirus. Basically, I don't know what it is, but my toes turned like reddish purple. They bruised up. They got all bruised when it got cold. Now, I'm a cold weather kind of dude. I don't, you know, my ancestry is Scottish and Scandinavian, right? So I don't, cold weather don't bother me too much. But this year, it's like I've been cold all the time. Partly it's because I'm leaner than I was last year by like, not a huge amount, maybe 20 pounds. Which for me is not that much because like my normal walking around weight's like 220 pounds. So, am I going the right way? I think I actually am. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm going backwards. I'm paying too much attention to what I'm talking about. So yeah, because things are spread out, you don't notice it quite as much. You probably know somebody who got coronavirus, you know, in your circle. Somebody maybe who got really sick. You know, as it gets more and more people, you might know somebody who died. I think I'm going backwards now. USA has 400,000 deaths, more than USA World War II deaths. There you go. So I predicted 500,000. Now 500,000 is if the same number of people get it, and all the statistics coming from China and elsewhere were going to hold. So if it's less than that, that's great. And one of the things that I think people forget is that, you know, you do all these things to try to, you know, stop the spread or slow the spread. And a lot of them work. And so whatever comparison you're making, you have to remember that you are making it after all of those things are done. So 500,000 plus would be the standard amount. So anything less than that, that's how effective it is in total. And so if it's pretty much the same, then we could say, well, they really our things really weren't effective. We're not at a year yet. And I could see it getting up close to 500,000, where we'll look at it and it'll be, for the 1 year, my prediction was 500,000 if you did nothing. So if it's 480,000, that means you did all these things and it, you know, you really didn't save that many people's lives. And who knows, of those 20,000 that less that died, what their comorbidity is for something else. In other words, like, or not comorbidity, what their morbidity is for some other condition, right? Like maybe, you know, if things hadn't changed, they'd be old, but they would have died of something else. They would have died of the flu. Maybe they would have gotten the flu. You see a lot less flu deaths as well. So this is a weird thing too, where people change their behaviors to try to avoid one thing and they end up avoiding other things, which are also harmful. So there's less deaths like across the board for like almost every cause. And this leads people who aren't, I guess, really familiar with statistics. I can't tell if I'm going backwards now or not. I'm completely like lost here. I might have to look up a map. A Borat-style skit about a journalist promoting a new anti-COVID butt plug, meeting the people involved in the project, and then at the end of the documentary, gets it done to become a hero. My ancestry is wife. Waif. Yeah, so like less people got the flu. Like the flu season didn't really happen because people were doing all these things that probably significantly reduced the amount of flu people got. Some of those deaths, which were maybe attributed to coronavirus, were perhaps incorrectly attributed. I think I'm going down the wrong stairway now at this point. I might have to look up a map. It's called the Dragon Cave. Maybe there's a map here. Is there a map? Oh, this is the NES map, though. Dang it. This is going to be harder to read. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm just going deeper. I need to go the other way. There were two ways down off of that floor. One, I had to go back up because I fell down into a freaking abyss. Is Marisu's bow backwards when she shoots? Not on my screen. Keep in mind, you're watching it in like some fraction, like maybe 20 FPS or 30 FPS. It's actually in 60 FPS on the Vita. Yeah, there's two ways down. So that's one way down. We actually don't want to take that way. I don't think it's backwards. I think it's just like it animates so quickly you see it like flip forwards, so it looks backwards. Let's see if there's a map here. Floor 1. The Wyvern Cavern. Wait, can we... Oh. There we go. Teleports the party out of dungeon. I'll take it. All the people involved in the project are either super flamboyantly gay or Chinese. The anti-COVID plugs have a bunch of cool apps that are connected to your phone. Oh, Marisu's about to die. Need to heal her up. There we go. She's got some high-level cure going on here. She's at MP. We're just going to deplete our MP healing up here. And then we can use I have a cottage. So that'll work. This guy's cure is really good for some reason. Okay. Alright, he's out of MP. Here we go. Never played this one, but it's got a great look to it. Yeah, this is the PSP version. The NES version looks a lot like the original NES game. So this one looks a little different. All right, now we'll give them the medal, I think. Per the lowermost reaches of the cavern hold the life spring, the place the wyverns use as a hatchery. The wyvern's right in there. It's sound asleep right now. My mom says it's going to die soon, but that's not true, is it? I think we show it the... We seek your aid in destroying the Empire, our common foe. Will you help us? The Empire's poison has already courses through my veins. I will not escape the fate that befell my brood. Do we show him the... Where is it? Pendant. Nothing happens. Oh. Maybe I needed to talk to this guy. I went in there before. Oh, he gives you the egg. I have one last request to make of you. Take this egg to the cavern north of here and submerge it in the life spring. It is the last remaining wyvern egg. If it is not submerged in the life spring, soon it will wither and die. Okay, so now we got to go back and do all that again. How old is this game? Originally, it's 1990. This version is from 2008, I believe. So this is a version that was for the PSP. It's based on the PlayStation 1 version. So they remade it for PlayStation 1 in like 2002, 2003. And then they remade that one with an improved script here on the PlayStation Portable. And that's the version I'm playing here. I'm going to use the cottage mostly to restore our mana. Because this will give us more mana. Does she have anything good here? No. Alright. Items. We have where is it? Cottage. 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 If it hatches, you get a mountain named Yoshi! Reporting all your comments. Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird thing about statistics with COVID is like, they're like, oh, they're calling this death COVID when he died of pneumonia. It's like he wouldn't have had pneumonia if he didn't have coronavirus. We do the same thing with the flu. We call it a flu death, even though maybe her bow is backwards. Let's look at that again. We call it a flu death, even though the ultimate cause of death is pneumonia, but the proximate cause of death is the flu. So you do some of the same things with coronavirus. And I could tell you that the bronchitis I got from it was not pleasant. So if somebody were, I could definitely see how somebody who was really out of shape or like obese or maybe just old could end up hospitalized or even die of this thing. Totally see it. It's way worse than a normal cold, for sure. We kind of found out like everyone in my town just disobeys all. Okay, we already got the pennant. Just disobeys all orders, like to stay home and stuff. And all the restaurants are just open and no one does anything about it. And so it's made our little town here like this magnet for people who want to come in and go to restaurants. You know, so like the restaurants are always completely crowded all the time here. Because they're open. You know, it's like if you're, it's one of these things where like if everybody, the first person to disobey the orders, like gets massive economic benefits from it. And I saw that a bunch of restaurants in Italy were like, nope, we're going to all open at the same time. Like we're all Spartacus. You can't imprison us all. Pretty sure my entire family had COVID. We got headaches and congestion, and that was about it. Some of us got tested, but some of us didn't. Very mild all around. If you had it, the big way you're going to know if you had it, there's two big ones. First of all, you're going to have a fever. So you'll have a fever, and it's going to be an uncomfortable fever that doesn't respond well to medication. The other one is your sense of smell will go away. That happened with every person who had this that we knew. So if it wasn't that, it could just be a regular cold. I think it's quite possible that the novel coronavirus is actually rarer than the statistics are reporting because their test may be too broad. So that's something that they've also said is like more people, it may seem less deadly because there's too many false positives. Like lots of people are testing positive for it who actually didn't have it and weren't that sick. So then it makes it seem like it's both more virulent than it actually is, meaning people are getting it more than they really are, but also that it's less deadly than it actually is when it's the inverse. It's harder to get than it appears, but it's also a more significant illness than it appears too. So there's two sides to problems with data collection. It's actually, I think it's going to be a very interesting set of data in a couple years that people look through, statisticians can look through and really what's the word I'm looking for here? Really figure out what was going on, like really tease the data apart. You see this with economics, like the data for economics while something is going on is incomprehensible, and it's only years later when you're able to process everything that happened before and after that economists will be able to like figure out what actually happened and what caused it. So, the belief, just look at what people believed caused the Great Depression. People believed what caused the Great Depression was like a stock market crash. That didn't cause the Great Depression. The economy had recovered from the stock market crash in 1930 and was on its way to growth again. What caused the Great Depression was actually a liquidity crisis. And what it was is that because of bank failures, because of the way bank failures create deflation, they cause a liquidity crisis, meaning there's not enough money. People can't get the money they need. A bank failure causes a liquidity crisis because you have fractional reserve banking and all the currencies based on debt. This is true whether you're on a gold standard or not. So yeah, we have debt currency where all the currency enters into the economy through a loan from the Federal Reserve. So it's all technically debt, but the Federal Reserve never really collects that loan. Rather, that's just, I don't know, it's a tally mark because the Federal Reserve printed the money to begin with. It's not like it's out anything. It could print an infinite amount of money as well. But if it's the gold standard, it's the same thing. Someone deposits $100, you put 10 in reserve and you loan out 90. That 90 goes back into one of the banks, and the process repeats until you get basically $1,000 for every $100 that you print and put into circulation. You end up with 1,000 worth of deposits plus currency. So the deposits are treated like currency, which that's, if you write a check, you're treating a deposit like currency. You're not giving somebody $1,000 when you write them a $1,000 check or whatever your country is. So if you're writing them a 200 quid note, they're not getting a 200 quid bill, right? Or they're not getting 200 pound notes, right? You're writing them a check, and it's all done through the bank. The currency doesn't exist. It's all imaginary transfer of currency with balance sheets. So anyway, what happened is the Federal Reserve did not intervene on any bank runs. And so back then there was no insurance from the Federal Reserve or anyone else for banking deposits. So what would happen is a bank run would happen where someone would panic and think the bank was going to close. And so what they would do is they would go to the bank and try to get all of their money out before the bank ran out of money. Because what would happen is when the bank ran out of money, that's it. It's gone, and so was all the money that you had in the bank. Now, when somebody goes and gets their money out of the bank, if there's a run on the bank, in order to cover their shortfall on reserves, starts calling in debts that other banks owe to it. So it looks at its balance sheets and it says, bank down the road owes us this much money. Hey, we need that money. And so what do? If they have to pay that bank, they have to pay it out of their reserves. They have to call in their debts. And so it creates this chain reaction of the traded deposit money, which is imaginary but acts like money. This is part of the quantitative theory of money. You can read the technical stuff on it. Because of this chain reaction, it destroys like 9/10 of the money. So you had the total quantity of money during the Great Depression between 1930 and 1933 fell by more than a third. Now that is the most significant deflation in modern history. In fact, there's no deflation that's comparable because you didn't have fractional reserve banking amplifying the money supply that way. So it's really one of the most interesting things that I could think of. I don't know what the gold hairpin does. Resists lightning. Yeah, we'll use it. So it took years for people to figure out exactly what happened because at the time you just you didn't know what was happening, and so even economists that were very much like, Franklin Delano Roosevelt created the Great Depression. The Democrats during the time created the Great Depression by unwittingly engaging in economic policies that they thought, basically based on John Maynard Keynes' belief that you had to have the circular flow. Velocity of money was everything. That's really Keynes, is that like if the velocity of money is not consistent, that's what causes depression. And if the economy slows down, it's because the velocity of money has slowed down, and you have to make that up by spending money with the government. The government comes in and spends the money so that the velocity of money doesn't slow down and you don't get economic shrinkage. It's assuming that the velocity of money is makes sense as an economic makes sense as a measure for actual economic activity and growth. The velocity of money is how quickly money changes hands. So your GDP is actually how much money has changed hands in a year. That's GDP. Let's see if we have the wyvern egg. Here we go. Wyvern egg sinks gently to the bottom of the spring. Okay. The egg rests deep at the bottom of the life spring. Okay, do I need to do anything else? Oh, there's nothing left to do here. All right. All right, so let's go and teleport out of here. All right, so it's a slight detour because I forgot to get the egg before I went into the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, we're not really going to know who had it and who didn't have it. Oh, that did damage to Marisu. So the teleport spell, like, did a ton of damage to her. It cost her life. That's crazy. Didn't realize. There we go. We're not really going to know who had it and who didn't. We're just probably not going to know. I guess because the information doesn't really exist. The last living wyvern is dead, but the egg you placed in the spring remains. Someday it will hatch, and the wyvern will spread its great wings and soar through the sky for the rebels. The wyverns can't thank you for what you've done, so allow me to do so in their place. We are grateful. Wyvern, it's dead. Well, I don't know where it went, but I guess we're done here, so we can go to Altair. When Marisu performed teleportation, she takes damage. That is good to know. She almost died. Okay. Could just be a really bad flu. I think the flu was really bad last year, too. My neighbors got the flu, and, they had to go to the hospital. One of the kids had to go to the hospital from the flu. Now, it could have been coronavirus, right? People make a good point here. Could have already been here, but they weren't testing for it, so we're not really sure. The White House got it combined with the timing. Yeah, they gave me like Z-Pack, and I guess that helped, kind of. I mean, I took it, and then eventually I got better. We have to go to Altair here. Where am I? Oh, I gotta go. Yeah, you have to go back around. You have to go back north and then sail through this little narrow strait to get back in this middle part of the thing here. But we do have the pirate ship now, so that's helpful. We can just go wherever we need to go. Yeah, it's one of the problems with information is that you almost certainly don't have all the information. I guess this is a bigger thing for life, is like people think that it's information that gives you power, and it's probably something more like knowing how to act in the absence of information is probably the biggest advantage. Hoover also raised taxes in 32. Worst timing. Was Herbert Hoover, Herbert Hoover was like, people blame him for the Depression, but he was actually right. And it was actually government policy that caused it. And it actually, government policy definitely made it worse. But the banking system, this is another bigger idea. I mean, if you want to get, let's get out of this left-right paradigm, the banking system is inherently unstable. No one really wants to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it because it's something that I care about, and it's something also that I have basically ended up coming to a conclusion against free market principles, because it's just real. The banking system is inherently unstable. This is like the anathema to most libertarian arguments and most, I guess, modern right-wing stuff's all about money. It's never about culture or anything, so whatever. But the banking system is inherently unstable. And that's because the way the banking system operates is that it gains no benefit from extreme events in the positive. So, let's say it's in the business of making business loans. You make a loan to, I don't know who you make a loan to. You make a loan to a business, and they take that loan and they make $1 billion out of it. How much does the bank make off of that loan? They make the original loan plus interest. So they get nothing from the explosive power of the free market economy. So they gain nothing from it. Now, but they facilitated that by allowing a business that didn't have a lot of just capital laying around to acquire money and invest in capital equipment. So that's good. This is Paloom. I'm just going to maybe buy a cottage. They have one here. To replenish the one I lost. When I wasted time on. Nope. Now the problem with banking is that positive is mild, but the negatives are big. So when you have the savings and loan crisis or something like that happen, we've had the housing crisis. Basically, the negative black swan effects, those unforeseen extreme events, it's vulnerable to all the negative ones, but it gains nothing from any of the positive ones. So the tech explosion gave the banking sector nothing. The housing bust destroyed the banking sector. The savings and loan destroyed the banking sector. The Great Depression, liquidity crisis destroyed the banking sector, right? So the banking system's inherently unstable, which means what? You may have to think a little bit less free market about that. Let's see if the princess is here. Last time I was here, she just laughed at me. Alex J, there's something I would like to discuss with you. Uh-oh, she's got look at that look on her face. It's drawn by Yoshitaka Amano, by the way. So these avatars are actually Amano's avatars that he originally drew. So if they look like his art, that's why. They're based on his original concepts. So they're way closer to what the concept art was. We'll be waiting outside. All right. Come to me, Alex J. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Out here in Alex Jones. Your Highness. Oh, look at this. This is totally a reaction image. There we go. Print screen. Let's tweet it out. Twitter, I have a tweet for you. Let us go edit. Square. And zoom it in. It's going to be a little blurry, but I like it. There we go. Your Highness. Why are you just standing there? I don't enjoy being teased. Look at that look on her face. What's going on here? Now you're mine, Alex J. Alex Jones. Uh-oh, is she gonna be a bad guy? Oh no! It's a Naga! It's a monster girl, guys. What have you done with the princess? Not so fast, you scurvy snake. Layla the pirate. Not so fast, you scurvy snake. It's all for me grog. And it's all for me grog. Me jolly, jolly grog. All for me beer and tobacco. For I spent all me tin with the lasses drinking gin. So far across the western ocean I must wander. Overall, do you think global economy has been a bad thing for the world? No, it's been a great thing. International trade's actually a really good thing, guys. When I talk about globalism, when we're talking about globalism, we're talking about global governance, not trade between nations. Trade between nations has always happened, and it's a good thing because it can definitely, like, significantly increase wealth. Let's hit her with some fire and see what that does. And we'll hit her with some thunder. See what that does. I know there's some anime fans here. I know there's some people who read some, like, hentai manga and are gonna be like, yeah, Monster Girl, what's up? Uh-oh. She charmed Layla. Kill the reptiles, Alex Jones. I think the money changers, bankers, and hedge funders know that what they're doing is bad and could collapse at any time, which is why they're so scared of what's happening. Yeah, basically, the point is to get as much out of the system as possible and then to just kind of parachute away before shit hits the fan. And then when everything goes tits up, you'd say, Black Swan! Oh no! No one could have foreseen that happening. It's like, well, the banking system collapses every 25 years. It's inherently unstable. Like, you just have to, I mean, that's why you have the Federal Reserve, is because the banking system is unstable. And the Federal Reserve just does a really bad job. So, Federal Reserve is like, guys, we have cancer. Well, how do we cure it? I know, we'll give ourselves AIDS. That's not curing cancer. Layla, just how much of that did you just see? Enough to know you shouldn't be letting your guard down around fetching young ladies, I'd say. Well, real princess. I've terrible news. We've just heard a tournament is being held in Palamecia, and Princess Helda is the prize. I'm coming with you. I want to help you rescue Hilda. Uh-oh. Don't worry. I know just how you feel, Captain. Me and me boys will manage your army. I'm on a tight ship. No need to fret over us. Oh, she leaves the party. No! She's got like good stuff on. Does Gordon still have his good stuff on from before? That's the question. Gordon joins the party. No, what did she have on? She had some good stuff. Let's see. Well, at least he's like leveled up from before, but all of his equipment. Oh no, I took all of his equipment off. So he doesn't have it. He can have a dark bow maybe? A giant's helm. Mithril armor. That kind of sucks. Give him the werebuster. And we have a good, like... Oh, no, he should have the... Oh, he could have the trident. No. Left hand. Right hand. Trident. And the ice shield. Let's see if there's... Flame bow. I mean, gosh, stuff's all good. A dark bow, huh? The dark bow is not as good as the flame bow, though. All right. Modern American right-wing leadership definitely doesn't care about conserving heritage properly. Yeah. It's all about economics. It's all about, what is it? Which one? Mammon. Not Moloch, but Mammon. Left wing is Moloch, right wing is Mammon. Right wing is like, money, money, money. Left wing is full-on death cult. You know. Some people speculate that flying dragons actually existed. Do you think there's any validity in these theories? Well, go to the museum and you see pterodactyls. Yes, flying dragons were real. They're called dinosaurs. I never played this one. It's got a great look to it. Okay, I just got this. So yes, of course dragons are real. Oh yeah, metagaming Dragon Age Origins and stripping prologue companions down to their underwear before moving on. I did that. And then the cutscene, they're all naked in their underwear. Or I guess you could run a nude mod, but I mean, like on those ancient graphics, I don't think the nude mod is very good idea. All right. That's why they turn everything into a market. Even family is market to them. Yeah. It's also why they can't understand the GameStop thing. They're like, what? Don't these people realize that, like, you know, they have to sell in order to make money? It's like, it's not about the money. Why would people do things not motivated for money? Who does things without being motivated for monetary gain? Can't we bribe them to change their ways? What if we just give them money and that'll make them change? They don't get it. Fundamentally, they just don't get that people would do things for other than profit reasons. I had this block. I'm like, yeah, Disney must do things because of profit reasons. Like, no. Where's Palamecia? That's a good question. So Palamecia is where we need to go. I guess we'll probably need to take the ship. And then we can kind of go around here. Is this Palamecia? I don't know what this is. Arcane Labyrinth. I don't see Palamecia. It's got to be... Where is Palamecia? That is a good question. Maybe it's down there at the bottom. Might have to like go around the edge there and then like walk up into that area, and that might be it. So, let's try that. Flying dragons are very real. They're called dinosaurs. Yeah, I mean, I see all this art with, and I know what's really perplexing is how did so many cultures know dinosaurs existed before we were digging up their bones and putting them together in haphazard ways to say that they were like this? That's a more interesting question. Now, if you look at the Bible, snakes had legs, and like God cursed them by taking their legs away. So snakes were dragons. I said this on Twitter and people thought it was like a joke or something. I'm like, nah, man, I think maybe like dragons were real, and Satan took the form of a dragon, like a dragon of wisdom, and the curse for dragonkind was to become snakes, become reptiles that crawled along on their bellies. Because people are like, what do you mean the curse was for them to crawl on their bellies? They're snakes. Of course they crawl on their bellies. It's like maybe they didn't have the same form. We assume that like all things had their original forms, in this mythological past. Why not? There's nothing to say that they have the same form. The Bible talks about it at the time of heroes, which also exists in like, Ovid and all kinds of other Greek mythology too. This idea that there were like demigods at one point, and the age of heroes died with the like Battle of Troy and things like that. And we're what's left. We're like we're like a lesser version of people. You see this in the Bible. There's parallels. Like you notice the people in the Bible originally lived for like hundreds of years. They were like the golden race. They lived for hundreds of years, and now we like just die immediately. Brain! Let's kill these brains. There was a story of two cowboys in the late 1800s shooting down a pterodactyl. You see the guy who was crying that it was bullshit that people got stimulus checks and used them for stonks? There was some horrible attack against the rich. Yeah, God forbid that they, it's like, well, we lost our job. Here's $600. Oh, these blobs are like resistant to physical damage, so we got to hit them with magic. These flans. I like how virtually every Final Fantasy game has flans in it. They're called flan. Flan is a Mexican dessert for anybody who doesn't know. And it's like a jello-like dessert. Is the best way I could describe it. I always thought that was really funny. Let's see what this does. Let's see what Blizzard does. Oh, cool. He still has his fire here. We can level up his magic a little bit. I'm confused. Why curse an entire race when Satan transformed into them? I don't know, man. God does things like that. Maybe there weren't 10 righteous dragons. He said he would spare Sodom and Gomorrah if there were 10 righteous men there, and there weren't. 0 damage. That's good. I don't know. I don't know why God did it. Did you see the guy who... Yeah, so I totally saw stuff like that. Here's the thing about hedge funds. I was trying to explain this to my wife over screaming kids, and it was annoying both of us. It's like, we just want to have an adult conversation without kids jumping in our laps and demanding attention. It's like, is that possible? The answer was no. But, so the way that these hedge funds collude with each other and the way that they work is actually rather dastardly, in my opinion. So what they'll do is they'll get together and they'll pool a bunch of resources. You notice, like for instance, that... I have an antidote. Good. You know, they were shorting more than 100% of the positions that existed on the stock. How can you short more than 100%? Well, there's only so many trading... You know, there's only so many shares out on the market that you can buy. And the rest are being held like nobody's trading them. So you're shorting more than there are available. And what you're trying to do there, what does a short sale actually do? It's kind of supply and demand, but you're trying to reverse the flow. Okay, this is not the city we're looking for. This is Cave of Mysidia. We don't need to be here. 10 Righteous Dragons sounds like an awesome name for story or power metal band. Yeah. Yeah! Listen to some Lost Horizon today. I always love it when like the rain stops. Listen to some Gamma Ray and some Lost Horizon. How'd a bunch of monkeys go to the moon? We're out of time for this stream already. Yeah, the title of Judge. I love Samson's like my favorite, one of my favorite Bible heroes or Bible stories. You would not have, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have guessed my riddle. This dude was a badass. He loses the bet, so you know he makes a bet, and it's like he loses the bet. So what he does is he goes to the next village over where all the relatives of the people who made the bet with him at his wedding day lived, and he kills them all. And he said he would give them 30 cloaks and 30 tunics or something like that. In other words, he'd give them a bunch of cloth. So he kills all the people there and takes their clothes and goes and brings it to him and says, here's what I owe you. When he like breaks the thongs off his hands and picks up a donkey's jaw and kills like a bunch of Philistines. And says, with the bone of an ass I made asses of them. With the donkey's jaw I slew 1,000 men. I need to get Marisu back in the front row. Like her stats are... Like she's doing good damage, but her stats are kind of suffering. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm explaining it now. So basically what they do is by shorting more stock than exists, that short stock gets traded like stock. So you are creating supply. So supply and demand meet. If there's an excess of supply compared to what people want to buy, then the price drops. So merely by shorting the stock really significantly, like you get a couple of hedge funds together, you have a lot of power, you short all the stock that's available, it pushes the price down because you've created supply. You've doubled the supply of trading shares, which is going to make the price go down. Just like if all of a sudden there was twice as many candy bars available, candy would have to be cheaper. People wouldn't need it as much. They'd have to be persuaded to buy more candy, which they normally wouldn't buy, by making the price cheaper. So that's what happens. And so the point is that you want to buy the stock at a cheaper price when you short it, so you make it happen by controlling so much of the market that you can do that. Now, GameStop is the company that suffers as a result because they lose their ability to raise capital. There's lots of negative things happen that with your stock price goes down. Even though that doesn't affect like your revenue or things like that, it does affect your ability to say leverage debt. So basically, the hedge fund was going to, at the expense of GameStop, take a bunch of money from other stockholders who were in a panic, going to sell their stock, thinking that GameStop was going under. So the point was to force the market to respond to them by selling all the shares tomorrow at a lower price, and thus they would make a profit. You see the problem with shorting stock, it's basically fraudulent. Now, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if that tower is that, or if that, like, I don't know what about that tower. I like the story better if it's just a donkey's jawbone. Can't go in there. All right. Can't go in. All right, I probably need to call it here. But yeah, so when you catch sight of the squeeze and you realize that they are shorting it by a huge amount, that actually puts them in a vulnerable position. But no one else in the market was going to counter them because they all kind of collude. One other hedge fund could have just bought a lot of GameStop stock and countered the short. Why didn't anyone else do that? Well, it's because they play by their own little rules. They meet and they're like, hey, we're going to short this stock. Nobody buy it. We're going to basically take money from the stockholders. The regular funds, the mutual funds that own the stock, things like that. I don't know where Paramecia is. I have to like ask around. Not Tropical Island. Whatever this place is. Alright. We'll have to figure it out. We'll ask some people. See if they know where it is. Even a strong man like Samson felt the attractiveness of a woman into his lust. Just the ultimate downfall. Yes, and I love that too. It's a great tragic story. In fact, I'll come up with a fantasy novel this year that has the same things in it. It's a Samson-like tale. I think people will like it. Peter Schiff thinks the GameStoppers had a little help from some silent partners. I don't know about that. I think he's a boomer and just doesn't really think that large numbers of people could just coordinate spontaneously. Yeah, new power metal band, 10 Righteous Dragons. Anyway, all right, before I go, listen to this beautiful music for another minute here while I transition over here to just looking at the camera again. Boom. So here's what's up for February. So for February, gaming streams are going to continue 3 days a week. So we're going to do Monday. I think I'm going to do Monday. Let's see. Monday, Thursday, Saturday. So Monday and Thursday, late at night, late show. And then Saturday, regular time, regular stream. Maybe gaming, maybe a different game. That one's going to be basically the wild card. I'm going to try to get... Whoops. Oh, my precious Vita. I dropped it. I'm going to try to get more authors on to talk about art and stuff like that and just have more fun with the Saturday stream. Now, starting February 1st, I'm shifting my focus 100% to music. Now, I didn't get the editing of the book done I wanted to get this month. That's okay. I made a decision on priorities. My priority was to establish a streaming schedule and see if I could stick to it. And I was able to do that for the most part. And I'm pretty satisfied with that work habit being established. I needed to establish a work habit. Remember, work habits really come before almost everything else. It's really important to establish good work habits. So I did that. So I'm going to do music, and I'm going to try to basically do a whole album in a month, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm fixing the time, not the... I'll do a separate video on this. But you guys can skip that because I'm going to tell you the content right now. You can either, if you're looking at a project, you can either fix the time or you can fix the duration. So the time is how long you're going to work on the project. In this case, I'm going to work for 1 month on music. So I'm fixing the time. I'm not time or duration. I'm fumbling over my words because it's late, but you can fix the scope or the time. So if you are going to spend 1 month working, you're going to spend 1 month working. And how much you get done in that month is however much you can get done, given the time. And this is really useful if you are, I don't know, working on like a piece of software or something like that. You can fix the scope or the time. If you're writing a book, obviously the book has a fixed scope, so the amount of time it takes to write is pretty variable. Fixing both, saying I'm going to write 100,000 words in 1 month. I've done that. It's very difficult to do, and it requires really, really strict maintenance of a daily schedule and daily goals, so that you are fixing the scope on a daily basis in order to add up to things over a long time. Putting in extra hours where you need them, and being able to give yourself a break where you're able to in order to meet your goals at the end of, say, 6 weeks. So I'm going to work on it for a month, and I'm going to see if I can get a whole album done in a month. I'm going to try my best. But if it doesn't work out for time, we'll have gotten done as much as I could get done in that time, and then I will have a completed musical project. The idea is going to be a soundtrack to a game which doesn't exist. So that's what I'm going for. That's the concept of what I'm going for. I may stream me making that music. I've done that in the past. Those haven't been popular, but I can try them again and just kind of see how they work out. Just, get my feet wet and see if people are interested in that kind of content. And if they aren't, that's okay, because music creation to me is a very introverted process anyway. And doing it live in front of people, it's a little weird. And I'm afraid it's rather boring to just kind of watch me like click through things on a DAW and like press keys and, play the same guitar like 20 times to get the correct take on tape, that kind of stuff can be a little bit boring. But that's what I'm going to do in February. And then when February is done, we're transitioning into publishing again. And I'm going to put the music on the back burner to just kind of finish that up and put out an album with like a little cover or something. I have 3 songs I did last year, so I can always add those in to kind of fill out the album. I do have a little bit of leeway. I just have like separate that little 3-song suite I did. It's going to be all instrumental music is my plan, unless I just want to do a sea shanty or something. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do in February. And then March, I'm going to try to come out with a couple of books and get the cycle going for the next couple of fantasy books I want to write. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the plan. So these will continue 3 days a week rather than 6 days a week. And that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to keep playing. I'm really like playing on this match. I might get another one from GameStop. I was thinking about getting, this is a slim. I was thinking about getting the fat, which has an OLED display that really looks nice. But you have to have a memory card. But I have an extra memory card. So I have an extra memory card. That saves me $50 because they're expensive. And so, boom, I could get a white one or like something from Japan. I think they had them in different colors in Japan, like green or something, get a Japanese one and just jailbreak it like I did this one, put in like a huge SD card and load all my games on it. Same thing with this one. I basically have it all set up so I could just copy everything from this one onto another one and have like 400 gigs worth of PlayStation and PSP and Vita games, basically my whole PlayStation library kind of in one on the go. Pretty cool. So anyway, I'll keep playing that. And so the stream will kind of hop through the games rather than being like what we did with Final Fantasy 1 where it's like every second, because especially with these early Final Fantasy games, as you can see, a lot of it is just once your characters are leveled up, you're like running through the cave, just spamming attack. You're just spamming attack at everything because it's the quickest way to blow through without using your mana to just kind of get to the end of the level. So anyway, I'll be doing that a little bit off stream. And I'm going to keep trying. So we'll finish 2, we'll do 3. We'll finish 3, we'll do 4. I'm really looking forward to 4 because I haven't played that one in a number of years. Finish 4, we'll do 5. I have some version of 5. I'll figure that one out. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to some of the modern stuff too. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys, and that's what you can expect. So you can either fix the amount of time you're going to work on something or the scope, but if you're going to fix both, you have to really know your process. You got to be good. So if you are not like iron hard in your dedicated goals and your process and your time to work on it, what you should probably do is pick one. I'm going to work for a month on this, and whatever I get done at the end of the month, that's what's done. Whatever things I could put into this software program or to this game, whatever features I can add to my game in the next 6 months, that's what's in it. At the end of 6 months, that's the game. It's ready to ship. And kind of go from there. I'm going to make my game, and it's going to be this, and it's going to have all of these features, and this is what they are. Well, if it takes you 1.5 years, 2 years to complete the game, then that's what it is. And you just pick which one that you care about. For me, writing a novel, it's a fixed scope. The novel is a certain length. So if it takes 6 weeks to write, okay. If it takes 3 weeks to write, that's good too. But you can't say that I'm going to just write it in 4 weeks. What do you do when you get into 4 weeks? I failed at my goal. No, you just gotta push through it and continue on until it's done. So thanks, guys. Good morning from Norway. Good morning to people in Norway too. Why did you choose the shortest month for the project? Don't you want to spend much time on it, or do you like to play on hard mode? There's some kind of thing that's like NaNoWriMo, but for music. I don't even know what it's called, but I'm like, I've been wanting to do music for a while, but I felt like I couldn't really get it done in January. And it's a very good thing because January was very busy. My mother-in-law's still in the hospital. She had open heart surgery a week ago, and she's still in the ICU. Her recovery's not going that well. And so that's put a lot of stress on my family in ways that in other ways I can't really talk about on stream because of like extended family things that, are just more stressful. Are there going to be no negative ramifications for the stuff in regards to the GameStop? Well, there's going to be negative ramifications, but it's going to really show that it's not going to, it's basically going to pull masks off is what I think it's going to be. I don't think there'll be significant negative ramifications other than it's going to be harder and harder for regular people to just buy individual stocks that they want. What they really want to do is take away the power to buy. I know I'm totally shifting, but I saw this comment. It's so important. What they really want to do is take away the power of individual people to buy stocks after this because they figured out individuals could coordinate to stop the hedge funds, which had coordinated to destroy GameStop stock and raid and loot the money out of it. This is definitely something that I think is maybe not so moral to short sell all of the stock that exists, basically to sell stock that you don't have, not only to sell stock that you don't have, but sell more than what exists in order to artificially inflate supply, drive down costs so that you can then buy it later. Like it's a big scam. And the fact that they're losing money on that scam is making people's heads explode. Like, what? We're so used to stealing money from regular people who own stock. That's how we, it really is a case of winners and losers in this case. It's not like somebody buys a piece of stock and it goes down and they lose their money. No one else won in that case. Like the guy who sold the stock didn't really win. He just felt like selling the stock. But if somebody sells the stock and at a loss because they feel like they have no option, they just have to recover their money because somebody else caused their stock to go down outside of the company doing anything. Oh, yeah, that's like a scam, guys. So anyway, that's that. Thank you, Victoria. I hope she gets better too. And we're praying for her. But, she has some prior health conditions. She had radiation treatment for cancer years ago, and that has caused this problem with her heart. And is also, she has difficulty with her lungs and breathing. And so that's going to, that's impacting her as well. So we're hoping she gets over it really quickly. Having trouble with her blood pressure. Blood pressure is just too low, and it's got to get up before she can. They have to get you up walking and stuff. You get your heart working. Get your heart working again. So anyway, that's what's up. I do appreciate prayers and things like that, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. So good morning to you guys in Europe, and good afternoon to those of you in Asia, and good evening to those of you in the United States here in North America and South America, over here in the Western Hemisphere. So have a great one, and I'll see you guys next time. It's going to be Monday, Thursday, Saturday. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to make a video just to be specific. I'm like, maybe I should do Tuesday, Thursday, but I'm thinking Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Then I kind of have 2 days in the middle of the week to really play with and just kind of focus on work. And those are kind of harder days anyway. So anyway, that's it, guys. Have a great one, and I'll see you next time.